Okay, so hi, my name is Michelle Bowers. A lot of you probably know that by now. I was born in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina in 1989. Growing up, I didn't really have a lot of exposure to the public sector or the nonprofit sector. I did dance, so I knew about things like the American Ballet Theater, and I would dream about like moving to New York and working for the American Ballet Theater. But I didn't really have a lot of exposure beyond that. So again, I really love dance. It was like my favorite thing in the world, and I really wanted to work for the American Ballet Theater. When I went to college at Charleston, I actually started to learn a little bit about the arts beyond dance. So I actually ended up going into the arts management program, where I had the chance to learn about the nonprofit sector and kind of nonprofit leadership through professors like Jeanette Gwynn, and it was really impactful. One of the things I actually loved about the arts management program is the fact that we got to take a lot of business classes, and I really started to learn that I enjoyed that as well. So again, I mentioned I was like obsessed with moving to New York, so I finally did it. Got there with no money and no job, but somehow I figured a way to make it work through waitressing gigs and internships, and made my way into some of the biggest fashion brands in the world. So again, my little Devil Wears Prada, which is a little bit more of a reality than we all would like to know. So anyways, I worked for a lot of great brands, including some big luxury fashion brands based in Paris. And it was an amazing experience because the brands that I worked for had a lot of ties with the arts, which is what I love. So I got to do things like produce an event at the MoMA with the German artist Isa Ginskin. At Calvin Klein, I got to restore an Andy Warhol painting with the Dia Foundation and show it in our space with a lot of cool programming. So there were so many positive aspects. But again, when I was working for these French brands, I was in satellite offices, so I wasn't really in the nitty-gritty. And I wanted to work for New York-based brands so I could be in the headquarters and really learn about supply chains and all that kind of like nitty-gritty stuff. So in doing that, I began to realize that there were some issues. So I'm sure you guys have heard of things like greenwashing and purpose washing. As I started to see more of this, kind of on a closer level, I guess, I realized that I was in a way contributing to things that I wasn't okay with. And I knew that I needed to take some time to step back and learn. I really needed to understand how I could move forward in my career and also make a difference at the same time. So a lot of circumstances aligned for me to move back to Charleston, South Carolina, which was actually a really big blessing because I'd always wanted to leave the South, and I had this weird opportunity to come back, and I've actually really enjoyed it. So I wanted to learn more. I had been reading books like Emergent Strategy by Adrienne Maree Brown, a bunch of stuff by Bell Hooks. I was learning about things like emergence and co-creation and diversity, and I wanted to learn more about these concepts and really understand how I could apply them in my work. Also, when I was in Paris, I witnessed a lot of things like the taxi strikes, and I think it was like the Yellow Jacket riots, and they all affected the brands that I worked for. And so I really wanted to see kind of how this dynamic worked. So I decided to get my MPA at the College of Charleston. So when I was watching some of the Pass Ignite presentations and preparing for this, I saw that a lot of people talked about how this program really affected them both professionally and personally. And I really couldn't agree more. I think one of the coolest things I've gotten from this program is an ability to speak about my values and to speak about what I care about and to speak how that can relate to what I do professionally. So that's been really amazing. Also data. So I'm in marketing and communications, and we use data all the time. And I've really learned how to kind of think of data in a more critical way and understand that there can be issues even if it is a really useful tool. It's also helped me understand kind of the ways that policies and institutions play a role in our life in both formal and informal ways, and how if we can really see that, we can work kind of in new ways and work around it and really think of more collaborative ways to do things. And then it's also helped me recognize my own biases and privileges and kind of learn how I can check those, dismantle them, really see how they're affecting the decisions I make, whether it's hiring someone for my team, collaborating on projects with people, developing workshops, which is something I was doing this week, how I can really make sure that those are all being done in a great way. So, my post-MPA goals are really in the realm of corporate social responsibility, which can seem a little bit like a weird post-MPA path, but I think it's really something that I couldn't have done without doing this program. So, I've learned so much. Thank you guys so much, and that's it.